play an important role. But the concept of tensegrity is really, really interesting. Now, in order to explain what this even is, I brought you a little bit of a little model. Tensegrity, the word consists of two English words, and that is tension and integrity. So they're just fused together, tensegrity. When we think about the integrity part, then we are thinking of structural integrity. Now, I will use this model to explain the subject a little bit more, so you have an idea of what the tissues in our body behave like. But you have to understand that this is also for explaining the concept and for clarification. This is not 100% transferable, right? After all, our body does not consist of rubber bands and wooden sticks, I guess. Okay, so I want to show you what this model looks like. So you can see the model consists of 6 wooden sticks, and they don't touch each other. None of those wooden elements actually touch each other. They're only attached with rubber bands on their ends, okay? Only on the ends here. Now the rubber bands are what holds this entire structure in place. There's a very interesting quality about this tensegrity model, and that is that you can deform it quite a lot, and it will always pop back into its original shape. Okay, you can see I can literally smash it up a little bit, but the tension on the rubber bands will always pull it back into the shape where there is an even space between the wooden sticks. So before we go further into how Qigong works, I kind of want to create the framework for you to understand that example a little bit more. The aim of Qigong, of course, is an unhindered flow of Qi, of our life energy. In order to achieve this transformation, those desired results, we will have to stress the body in a specific way, and especially the tissues. Now that sounds a little bit strange in the beginning because most people associate pure relaxation with Qigong. But in fact, that's more like a really nice byproduct. We do have to stress the body as well to get that transformation from the inside to the outside. To clarify, I kind of feel bad saying that you have to stress the body. Just to clarify and make sure that no one's gonna start writing all those bad comments right away. What it's about in Qigong is that you always relax those big muscles down, sink your Qi, but keep that bone structure elevated and the joints open. Now, yes, you do have to relax the muscles to a very high extent to take them out of the equation, but this relaxation will result in a stretch in different tissues, different areas of the body, right? And that's what I mean by stress. So there is stress in the connective tissues, in fascia, in the huang. Huang is another connective tissue which is everywhere in the body, like a whole network. In those empty spaces between the muscle fibers, etc. Now the question that comes up is how can we use Qigong to heal and repair our entire body and let it come back in its natural, elastic and vital state? And in the end of the video, I hope I was able to answer that question for you. Now, first you have to understand that we're assuming now that our body is not in this natural state anymore. And that's no surprise because of age. For example, the older we get, the less well the different processes in the body will function because of work or a really bad posture, which goes usually hand in hand, bad posture at work in front of the computer, for example. But also, for example, lots of stress, that's a biggie, and also an unhealthy lifestyle. So if you're sitting for years on the computer every day in a bad posture, drink lots of Coca-Cola and eat lots of hamburgers, then you're more likely to have a more unbalanced body. Okay, so your body will probably not be in its natural state anymore. Now, all of these things, bad lifestyle, etc., they will end up, or they will result in chronic tension in the body. So lots of tension will build up. And this tension has a very negative effect, right? It will hinder the flow of qi. It will kind of trap the qi. But because it keeps the body always in this unhealthy position, it will do something to the form of this Tensegrity model as well. So the question is now, where comes the Tensegrity model in when we practice Qigong? What happens? Now, first of all, this model is very strong. It's even used in architecture in some places because it always bounces back, and it can go through these large phases of deformation, and it still pops back. But through these chronic tensions, like I just said, you will change this construct a little bit. So imagine that you're having chronic tension in your body, you don't get enough movement, your qi will be not flowing freely, and you will deform the tissues, this Tensegrity model, and it won't be able to pop back anymore. If the tissues are healthy and vital, they have a good elasticity, they have a good Tensegrity. So this rebound effect of this model is very good, very strong. With a bad lifestyle and with increasing age, we will lose this elasticity. We will lose a little bit of that rebound effect. And it takes a little bit longer for the tissues to come back into their original shape. In very severe cases of chronic tension, this model can get stuck even, okay? Imagine I'm taking those wooden sticks here and I'm kind of clamping them behind some other sticks. So now you can see, even if I don't touch it, it won't be able to pop back into place. If you look at babies or small children, for example, they have a very strong biotensegrity within their body. Their tissues are very elastic, very vital. They can jump from place to place, they can twist their bodies in crazy ways or do some amazing contortions even, but still they always pop back into this original shape of Tensegrity. So as we age, we lose this rebound effect, this Tensegrity, and it will take a lot longer for the tissues to bounce back into shape, right? And this is the quality that we want to develop within our body. This is the quality that keeps us young and healthy, and that brings back this vitality within our body. Now it's getting interesting because I'm going to show you what happens if we stay in this deformed position for a long period of time. Okay, so imagine I'm just going to clamp those wooden sticks behind some other ones just to make it a bit easier for myself. So imagine after sitting for many years in front of the computer or lots of stress, bad posture, and you're having a very deformed position. Now you can see, I hope you can see, that some of these rubber bands, this one for example here, and there's another one here, but especially this one, are looser than the others. But on the other hand, there are also some, probably on the opposite side, that are a lot more tense than before. Okay, there is a difference here. You can relate exactly, you can relate these properties to your muscles, but don't forget it's also about the connective tissues and fascia in the body, not just the muscles, right? For it to make sense, that's important. Now, I can understand that some of you might think now that it would be a smart solution to work on this specific muscle here, go to the gym and go for a workout and target this muscle right here to bring back the balance in the body. But that's not actually the case, because what happens if you're targeting just this one single piece and shorten this muscle or the region of the body, the connective tissues, etc., you will just deform the entire Tensegrity model even more. So you will change something here, but it will have an effect on the other side. Okay? It's very similar if you're planning or if you're thinking about doing some specific stretches now. Okay, and this is, for example, yoga practice. And don't get me wrong, I love yoga. I practice it to a certain extent myself. But we're talking about Qigong and how it works, and in particular about the holistic approach. Because in this case, it really needs this holistic approach, because otherwise, if you only just focus on one thing, you could just see it. You know, it moves from one side to another. It always has an effect in a different place. Now, if we have this deformed model, a very loose muscle here, and you want to do some yoga and target this very tense area of the body, you might be able to stretch this area and take some of the tension out, but you can see on this one here, the tension will increase. And that's why it's important that we work on a holistic approach, because we need to get the body back into its natural state. So to get back to the question that I asked in the beginning, how we can use Qigong to heal our body and to bring back the elasticity in the tissues, the most important point probably is that most of the time we think that we are smarter than nature, smarter than our body. We try to know better what to do. Like I said, we think we're just working on this one muscle or stretching this one other part of tissue. But that's not really how it works. The fact is, and we all have to remember that we have a very powerful natural healing ability. Okay, that's an ability that we have inherited from nature or God or whatever you believe in, but it is there. It's like the natural healing intelligence of the body. We have to make use of it, and we have to allow this ability to act on its own, to let things unfold naturally. What we do is, when we practice Qigong, is we support this natural healing intelligence with our movement sequences or static positions, depending on what kind of Qigong system you're practicing. But we are not directly interfering. Okay, we don't want to use a very strong intent all the time, manipulate things, change things. We want to use more attentive mind, and we want to create an environment in the body, so to speak, for the transformation to happen place naturally. That's very important. Now, how can we do this? How are we just supporting this natural healing intelligence? Like I said, through these postures, through the sequences. But you cannot forget that Qigong, the Gong part, the active part of Qigong, is, for example, something as simple as the alignment. I shouldn't say it's simple. In fact, it's quite complicated, but that's one of the most important parts, having the right alignment. You know, in practice, we need to align the body in a very specific fashion for the body to be able to relax more, for the big muscle groups to relax, for the qi to sink down towards our feet or into the lower dantian. So here we're just creating this environment for something to happen in the body, and that's very important. Now, through this alignment, when the big muscles are relaxed and the bone structure is elevated, we will be able to stretch the deeper layers of the tissues, and we can actually target this entire tensegrity model without actively, directly, intentively doing it. So from this deformed position, through Qigong, through the sequences of movements, the static positions, using the breath and the mind, also very important, okay? The mind has to be absorbed in the entire structure. You will unwind the tissues until they slowly move back into shape naturally. You're using your breath to create space in the tissues, in the entire body. The joints will open, and you will bring about the natural state of tensegrity without having to use a very strong intention, okay? So key is we really have to stop trying to outsmart the body and just create a natural environment for a transformative change to happen within the body. So that's it from me. I hope you enjoyed this video and you found it very helpful. If you're interested in Yijinjing Qigong, which is a Qigong method that I'm specializing in, then you can click the link below. It's a very, very effective method to bring back that natural tensegrity in the body, but also to develop other qualities in the body and the mind. This is a complete course. It's more like a program, over 60 videos, over 17 hours of content. And I'm currently offering it for half price, mainly because we are all in the Corona situation right now, and I want to make some resources accessible for everyone so that everyone can do something for their well-being and health. Okay, so that's it from me. As I already said before, if you're interested in reading more about these kind of subjects, Qigong, Tai Chi Chuan, but also Kung Fu, you can visit the blog on my website, for example. There is lots to discover. And otherwise, I just hope that you have one wonderful time and stay healthy and safe. And yeah, enjoy your training.